Hello everybody, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album by Deftones, the 10th record, Private Music. So this was pretty much an album that was revealed at the Deftones gig in Crystal Palace, one that I attended and one that I really enjoyed. A great time to see Deftones for the first time, and I'm looking forward to seeing them on the album tour, which I'm very shocked the tickets sold out quickly, but shouldn't have known any different because Deftones have a huge following now through TikTok's presence, and it's insane how much their music is just hit. There's so many gold hits from them, there's even numerous platinums now. It's nice to see Deftones, a band that didn't really have much of that, just get a lot of it, and it's definitely deserved because in my opinion probably one of the best bands going, with just an absolute amazing discography. So we're going to see how Private Music holds up to their record and see if it's as good as the previous albums. So we're going to start off with My Mind is a Mountain, the lead single. This one is great. I just love how it kind of plays with this Swerve City sort of like riff to it, but it feels heavier and it just feels like it's trying to rip into a more menacing at least idea instrumentally. The song's just a lot of fun. There isn't like a proper chorus on this one, but I just love the whole atmosphere. It's a shortish short song, but it generally feels like it has the qualities in the making of a really well crafted Deftones song. I was happy to see a lot of people like this one because it's really good. It was my favorite track of the week when it came out, without a doubt. It's just catchy, the guitars are insane, I just love the vocals on this one. This track is absolutely amazing. Next we have the Locked Clubs track. This is great. I just love the way it goes straight into this kind of harshness with the guitar, similar to what My Mind's a Mountain did. I love the energy on this one. I think Chino's vocals, he's definitely trying to put some new ideas on it, trying to keep it refreshing, especially when it comes to the cleans. This one's good. The chorus is fun. The Join Our Parade will be left out. It kind of gives me something that feels like it would be right at home with Ohms. Kind of reminds me of something that could be to a track like Pompeii. I like this one. It's also pretty good, for sure. Then we have Ecdysis, which this one is insanely good. This is probably my favourite of the songs at the moment on the album. I love the way it just kind of has this weird sounding instrumentation to start the song off, then it goes into this like low groove to then go into the guitars and the energy. It just really reminds me of classic Deftones that I absolutely enjoy. The chorus on this is wild and I really enjoy it. The Symbol of Our Plague shakes our bones awake, descending through a blaze inside these winds, is insane. I love this track. It caught me by surprise because I wasn't expecting to be just absolutely reeled in. I like the first two songs. I think they're pretty good Deftones songs, but this is definitely where I think they start to even peak past what we've had before. Love this one a lot. Next is Infinite Source. This one definitely reminds me of Saturday Night Wrist meets kind of the newer direction of like Ohms, at least with some of the vocals we're more used to, and I guess some of the grooves, but it definitely feels like a clean, well-produced song. Probably one of my less favourites so far on the album, but it still manages to keep the interest in. It's a fun song still, and it's still pretty groovy, and I just love the instrumentation on this one. I think Chino's definitely pulling his weight with some amazing vocal passages, and from what it seems, there's not really as much uncleans at this point, and that's kind of a big prominent theme for this record, is it's actually quite tame on the uncleans, which is kind of a nice contrast because it can literally focus more on the kind of spacey ethereal aspect to the band, and yeah, I think it's quite nice. And Stephen Carpenter's guitar work, in my opinion, probably is some of the best we've had in a very long time off this record, just with how insane and just how creative, groovy, or just menacing they can be. It conveys emotion in a very nice way. So yeah, Infinite Source is great. Souvenir feels weird because I feel like this is probably one of the more very experimental songs on the record, not because of the length, but just the way it's kind of delivered. It kind of feels a little bit like they're trying to put a little bit of a prog kind of turn to it, which is interesting. The refrain on this one is quite nice. It's a bit it's a bit of a slower groove, but it still manages to keep the energy and spirit of the record. So yeah, it's another good one. It does have quite a long like instrumental outro, which was kind of my issue with Ohms, but I feel with this it doesn't feel as much of a gimmick for what Ohms was, as it is a good transition into the next song. So not too bad, but yeah, Souvenir, definitely not one of my favourites. We got a track which I thought was pronounced like sex or sexes or something like that, but no, this means constant X zeros or just constant zeros, similar to how they put a dash in the Prayers Triangles, Hearts Wires songs on Gore. Yeah, this is really good. I love this one a lot. I just love the one is up, one is down, one is lost, one is there. I just think this song has some really good riffs. Definitely one of the well-grounded songs on the record, and yeah, this one just absolutely kicks ass. There's not really anything else I need to say, but yeah, I love this one quite a lot. We got a very personal track here, I Think About You All the Time. This one is absolutely gorgeous in its own sound. It starts off very slow, kind of reminds me of Sex Tape in the kind of style of it, but with a bit more of a melancholy, darker tone, and I think the way it goes and wraps around is great. As it gets to the second chorus, the guitars just really soothe into this very angelic sound, and Chino's vocals are insane. If they weren't catching you with some crazy ideas, I think this is definitely showing you how versatile his vocals are on this one. It's really well done, and I think the Hold My Diamond Warms Me Inside bit in the verse is just probably one of the best lines they've written, one of the best written songs, I think. This one is purely good. It's just absolutely incredible. And we go into the second single we had, Milk of the Madonna. This was outstanding. This is probably one of the best Deftones songs in a very long time. It really feels like we're getting something that plays with some Saturday Night wrist elements, with the instrumentation, just the energy, and then it also kind of feels like we get the Koino Yokan clean production. Well, obviously, since we do have the same producer, Nick, who produced Diamond Eyes, Koino Yokan, and this is his third album. But yeah, this one was instantly a favourite. I love this one. I called it my track of the week on my first single roundup for very good reasons. It's just an incredible, fantastic song. Lyrically, it's insanely good. I love the refrain on this one, Holy Ghost I'm on fire. It's easily the catchiest song on the record. It's absolutely mind-boggling, and it holds up, in my opinion. It's a good contender for one of Deftones' best songs, in my opinion. It really pulls you in, just absolutely leaves goosebumps on your skin. Yeah, what I haven't said before in the singles roundup, there's not really much else to say. It is just a perfect experience for a Deftones track. So yeah, this one, absolute legendary. Cut Hands is a very, very interesting song. This one definitely makes me think that there is some Fred Durst inside of Chino Marino here. When you first hear I Can Tell You It's an Answer, it just feels like I'm just expecting If Only We Could Fly from Chocolate Starfish Hot Dog Flavoured Water album. It is, I love it. I don't think it's a bad idea as well. I love the fact that Chino wants to engage with some more rapping on this one, and it does kind of bring a little bit of the new metal sound, but not nearly enough to make it feel like it's a whole return to stuff that you could see on Adrenaline or Around the Fur. It's definitely its own thing, and stylistically it's fun. I love this one as well. I actually thought Cut Hands would be the heaviest song on the album, and I guess I was right, because the riffs on this are very chunky, very aggressive. The whole refrain has some nice uncleans. The "Your imploding is the outcome, your running systems failed," delivered in that gritty line is just great. I love this song. Very surprised by it. I was not expecting it to be what it is, but Cut Hands is just a very pleasant song, very pleasant surprise, and it delivers. Now, I was one of the people that thought Meldream would kind of be more related to Deftones' sound, being metal, but no, that I love the actual metaphoric use of the song, and I think it definitely creates this very interesting aesthetic for the song. This one is very very fantastic in my opinion. I love the chorus on this one. It's almost as good as Milk of the Madonna, but it's definitely a standout. I love the vibe, I love the aesthetic. It's very ethereal, and it definitely feels like they are incorporating bits of space rock, like from the Saturday Night Wrist sound into this record. So if you're taking bits of Saturday Night Wrist with the producer of Diamond Eyes and Koino Yokan, you're basically kind of dabbling in mixing three of my favourite albums from the band, and then just kind of making a new direction of it. Of course I'm going to dig the album if that's the case. I love this one. Meldream just sounds very pleasing and just very much like a Deftones song I'd expect. It's lovely. We end off with Depart in the Body. I like this one a lot. It's really interesting to see Chino doing so many different vocal techniques, because it sounds like he's doing a more of this kind of like, I guess, chest singing, where you kind of give yourself this deeper voice. I believe that's the term, unless I've heard it differently, but it's the very deep, low voice he puts on for the start and the end of the song. It's completely unexpected, but it just adds to the entire message of the song. I really enjoy how this one sounds as well. Probably might be one of my lesser favourites. It doesn't cling to me as much as more as the kind of more beautiful or the just insane energetic aspect of the record, but I think Depart in the Body, while it may not be the best album closer, the band never really has a perfect album closer in my opinion anyway. They have good ones, but never one that I thought was as good as What Happened to You or This Place Is Death. I feel like maybe Ruby Con if I'm going the extra mile, since that is my favourite of Gore, but there's never really been one I've been absolutely impressed with, and Depart in the Body actually is probably one of the best album closes we've had from Deftones, so it's very nice that we wrap this album up, not in the best way, but still in a very intricately good sounding aspect. And that's the whole Deftones album, track by track, gone through. It is insanely good how this band's been going since the 80s. First album came out early 90s, Adrenaline, and the fact that they are still able to make a high quality, engaging, phenomenal album still is very lovely. This band definitely has a lot of passion, a lot of motivation, and while there was a bit more, I guess, divisive amongst fans' opinions with Gore, and Ohms definitely was an album that wasn't for everyone, from what I've seen, Ohms even being labelled as one of the weakest albums from Deftones, even though I personally enjoy it. I think this definitely, I can agree, is a better step in the right direction for what Deftones needs. It takes aspects and risks that you would expect from the band. It still managed to cling and take the best of what worked beforehand, but experiment a lot more. The riffs are more engaging than what we had for the last couple of albums. The vocals just feel like they're absolutely going top notch, and you don't need to include something so heavy that feels like it wouldn't fit on the album if it didn't. I think they definitely managed to get a perfect balance of the right sound they needed, and every single song is a good idea driving into the journey that they did to get to that. I mean, this has been probably the longest wait for an album, but I feel that's just why the reward feels a lot more exciting and fulfilling, especially with how many good songs there are on here. There is not a single song I think is that bad, and even with Ohms I wasn't that impressed with Pompeii. Personally, I thought this one still isn't one of their best. It's got a pretty weak structure and I don't really like the outro, but there's not really anything that makes me feel it's not that good. This album definitely is a step better in the right direction, quality, consistent, fantastic, and yeah, definitely one of my favourite albums of the year. I think I'll have to score this one a 4.5 out of 5. The only thing that kind of takes away from being a 5 is, while I do enjoy a lot of the album, I don't think it kind of hits the same way as some of the best stuff. Like, there is definitely some fantastic top tier songs on here, but I wouldn't necessarily say that as many of it does a better job than what we've had before. I love Saturday Night Wrist, and I will be honest, tracks like Beware, Kim Dracula, Xerxes, or maybe Hole in the Earth and Cherry Waves, stuff like that, even Rapture as well, I feel like from this sort of sound where they are bringing elements of into the newer direction, I love the experimentation of it, but I don't think they quite hit as some of their earlier stuff. I feel like this is cemented classics, and this is stuff that is working its own way, but not quite clicking as well as that does. But I think this is an album that will definitely grow even more, and could potentially be the perfect record. I don't quite think it's that perfect, but it's very close, and I think for a Deftones album, an amazing attempt. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next video.